Welcome to the Coffee with Karen podcast, a weekly chat show discussing everything from holistic health to current affairs from a mental, physical, and spiritual perspective. Get your weekly cup of positivity with a sprinkling of woo-woo.
So, welcome to the show. It's Thursday, and this is going out on Mintwave Radio. So, you can ask Alexa, or you can go to the website /Mintwave-radio to listen live. If you're listening via podcast, you can have a look at our whole network, not just mine. You can download the app for Apple and Android. Please subscribe to any that take your fancy. Again, same website /podcast-network. Feel free to follow any and leave a comment. So today's episode is 141, and today we have Jasmine Jackson, and she is a health and fitness coach. I'm your host, Karen Roberts, and we're really providing a platform for coaches to get their messages heard to the people who need it. Today, we're going to be talking about weight loss and Jasmine's life as a coach. So welcome to the show, Jasmine.
Thank you for having me, Karen.
So if you'd like to share with the audience a little bit more about your story, because look, for the listeners, Jasmine is a health and fitness coach. Saayit Fitness was developed in the hopes to give back to those that are willing to take a leap with their health and fitness journey. For 10 years, she struggled with maintaining her weight. And I'm sure you can agree that losing and gaining weight is pretty normal, right? The third time she lost it, and she knew that this journey is the best path for her. So if you'd like to elaborate a little bit more about your story here.
Of course. So, I've had my brand Say for 7 years now altogether now. But once I started my health and wellness journey this time around in 2019, I decided to, I don't know, it wasn't until after I lost the weight, but during the process of me losing the weight, I was helping people, lose weight. So I was like, well, I probably could. So like here and there, I was helping people, like giving them meal plans, but just playing with it. So one day I was just like, maybe I could just really just do like fitness. I can just do group things, like just do fitness sessions. Like I just picture myself like just doing group fitness sessions. Because days when I was younger, me and my cousins just do like we used to create our own like dance on dances and stuff like that, on days. And with me doing a type of fitness that I was doing at home, the YouTube and things like that, I was like, I could probably just do my own. So that's kind of how I started. So I initially wanted to be a group fitness instructor. So I did study to be a group fitness instructor. But once I decided to take my career full time, I just take it seriously, getting a lot of not podcasts, but trainings and things like that. I was like, you're really a coach. So that's where the whole coaching thing came from. And so with that, I quit both my jobs back in September of 20, I want to say it was 2020. It had to be 2020 or 2021. And then that same year in November, I had my first fitness class and it sold out. So I just been taking it full throttle since then. And then by January, I had at least like 5 clients. So, at the time, I really wasn't like really for sure like what to do. I didn't have contracts and things at place. So it slowed down, it picked up, it slowed down. And then in May of 2022, I got employed at a gym. So I work at a gym every Monday as well, opposed to having my clients that I coach virtually as well. So that's kind of been a mix of everything that I've been doing these past 2.5 years now. It's been a year and a half now.
Right. Awesome. And so what made you decide to take this route?
It was just on my spirit. It was just like, don't like quit your job. I mean, I was working 2 jobs for 7 years. And I was working 7 days a week at that. So 7 days a week for 7 years, I was doing this. So I guess at some point was like, I was feeling frustrated. I had just turned 30. So I was like, I felt like I wasn't accomplished enough. I didn't feel like I didn't accomplish a lot in my life and things like that. So I was really just ready for something new. And I was just like, just gonna do it. I didn't really have a plan. I just felt like that's what I was just, guided to do. So I did it. And
Good
I
for
just been,
you.
I've been figuring it out since then. I'm still figuring it out, but God is still good
Awesome. Well, I mean, that's my background. That's, I started out, oh my goodness, I don't even want to say
I don't want to
1990,
know. That's a
1990.
long time.
Stop, please don't say that. Yeah, 91 was when I first, and weirdly, it was because, I fell into it personally. If I'm brutally honest, it was purely because I loved the music. This was sort of the beginning of the house scene, and my
Mhm,
friends DJs, and a friend of mine opened a step studio, and I'd never even heard of that. It's like, what step? Reebok, what step?
mhm.
And it was in a great big warehouse with blue light and disco lights, and it was like being in a club. And I thought, well, hey,
Yeah.
I can do this for a living. I can jump around a studio to my favorite music and get paid and
Yeah.
get fit. Awesome.
Right.
But yeah, 25 years later, I decided that's enough of that jumping around a studio malarkey.
That's
But I
so
loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. And you know, if you have a passion for that, you get so much more out of it. Yeah, I did personal training, I had a fairly big personal training business, but I got more energy. Even though it's more physically demanding, you doing
yeah.
a workout yourself, but because you're giving energy, you're actually getting a lot of energy back in, right? Whereas one to one, it's not you doing the workout or anything, and actually it can drain your energy. So
Mhm.
can totally understand why you'd love doing the group stuff, because yeah, I was exactly the same. That was where I was at. That was what I loved doing. And that's it, isn't it? In life, you've got to. I mean, what were you doing before? What was the shift for you?
So, the job that I was at, so I was at one job for like damn near 10 years. I used to work at a market called ShopRite. I was there for damn near 10 years. I was out kind of the latter day. I started out as a cashier, and then I like 3 weeks in, I got promoted. So I just kept getting promoted. So like the last step, I was a bookkeeper. But then I had a second job. Like, okay, well, I need a second job. Well, I felt like at the time I needed a second job. So I had a couple second jobs, but uh, honestly, but ShopRite was like my main one. But at the time, I was working at a property management, and even though it was cool. I just felt like this mentally, it was just like draining, and I was really figuring out a lot of things about myself, like this being like, because I guess a lot of times you kind of be like the black one with the attitude, and I was just like, well, I don't have an attitude. It's just that this is dumb. Like it doesn't make sense. So I'm wondering, like, okay, I'm figuring out, like, okay, you are a natural leader. You'll do best by just having your own and figuring it out that way, opposed to like doing it their way, because the way that they're doing it just isn't making sense, and you got to give so much of your time, like having to wake up, got to be there at 8 o'clock, and the place is like 30 minutes, 20 minutes maybe, drive wise, but with traffic it's taking even longer. So yeah, I'm in traffic going to work, I'm in traffic coming back from work, so by the time I get back to my house, I don't really have enough time for myself. You know what I'm saying? So I'm working these two jobs, and I'm always tired. I don't really get to do anything. So a lot of times I will only have a day off if I requested if I requested a day off. Like I didn't have any time for myself, but I was so used to being like, I gotta work, I gotta work, I gotta work. So at the time, working at ShopRite for so long, it made sense for me because I was able to adjust my schedule. I was only working there on the weekend. I was there full time, and it went to part time because I had so many other second jobs that paid more. So at the time, I was at a property management, and they liked me. And that was another thing that was frustrating too, because I'm like, okay, well, like, you're a good leader, and we think we want to promote you, but we don't know where we want to put you. I was like, that don't make sense. You came to me about wanting to promote me, so where do you want to see me at? So they're like, well, what do you think? I tell them what I think. Well, I don't think that's a good job. I did. Well, what the world was the point of asking me this? It was just like, okay, so it was just like a learning curve and things like that. Like again, it was such a blessing to work there and anything, stuff like that. But I was just like, nah, I think it's time that I kind of do because I always wanted to be my own boss. I always wanted to do things, on my own. And even after me quitting, I kind of dabbled in it and other things. I was like, bro, that's not really what you want. So right now, I'm just on a journey of like figuring out what I want, and coaching, I can say, has been such rewarding because coaching has been something I always did. I just didn't know. Like I know I was supposed to be of service. Like I went to hair school, cosmetology school, so I tried to service hair. It didn't work out. Like I try to do different things, my business. I started my business to give back to my community, to the Black community. So I was doing community events. So I was doing back to school supply giveaways, different type of events for the community, networking events and things like that. And then again, I got into this, but again, it was just something that I didn't know I was doing it until I did it. Like I've been helping people and coaching people for a majority of my life, so I have to get paid for it now.
Right.
So that's
It's
kind of
the
where I'm like,
natural next step. It's the natural
yeah.
next step. And this is the thing. I think that's so many people sort of misunderstand is that, you have a job, but you've got to get there. So you've got this commute. And then, that's all taking money out of it. You can't claim that back, right? Because it's not your business. And the time that you're losing traveling there, traveling back, tot it all up and then deduct that from your wages. It's not necessarily the best thing for everyone. I'm not talking about, but if you want to go out on your own, it's scary, isn't it? How did you feel? How did it feel to actually, because we can feel safe, even if it's not a job that we want. And that seems to be the problem.
Hmm.
People find themselves in jobs, and then the older you get, then you've got responsibilities, maybe, you got to pay rent, you got to pay bills. So a lot of people are living in fear from actually stepping out and going on their own because they lose the comfort or the certainty of getting a paycheck. So how did you sort of transition through that?
One thing I had to learn, like it was hard, especially in the beginning. But one thing now that I'm realizing that like you just said, like no transition I had to get in my head. Like no transition is going to be the easiest. And I try to tell that to my clients as well, especially when you transition from unhealthy to healthy or from one side to the next side. It's not going to be the easiest thing. So the first thing that you have to do first is adjust your mindset. And it may take some time. And it took some time for me as well, because especially when you're so used to having something regular coming in, even if it's not really what you want, that paycheck coming in. And every week I was getting paid. So it's like, okay, what do you do? But it's like, is it do you stand on faith and believe in yourself? So having a confidence in yourself is one thing. Like I I believe in myself. I believe in my work. Regardless of anything, I know that eventually I'm gonna get to where I want to be, and that's where it was when I did. I'm like, well, I already done did it now, so it's like it's no going back now. Like this is what you want. So with the adjusting to the transition, I feel like it's no easy transition. You gotta get to A to B. It's no easy transition. You just gotta keep the faith. Find things. I was able to invest in a business coach and things like that. Just different things, like just using my time to train myself in my mind with how to get through the to a regular, just from to an entrepreneur, because again it's not always the easiest, trying to with always knowing that you're going to get that check, and with not like, okay, well, I don't really have no clients or nothing, I'm just going out on faith. So it's still a transition. I'm still learning. I'm still learning, because it's like, by nature I'm a hard worker. I'm used to working all day every day, so sometimes it's understanding, okay, rest, so again, it's still a transition, but I'm still thankful for like the time that I get with my clients, the results that they get. It really does make it worthwhile. I've been able to help so many women throughout this time period, and the impact that I make, I didn't even know that I was able to help them the way that they said that they did. So with that, it makes it worthwhile. You know what I'm saying? So it's still a transition. It's still a learning curve. Like you still gotta learn.
Yeah. And it's very much a mindset shift, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Because as I said, when you're transitioning from being an employee over to a business owner, it's yeah, you're used to being told exactly what to do. When you go to your day job, you turn up at work, you've got a boss or the manager, the line manager, whatever, and you've been given all the procedures and strategies in place for that day. You know what is expected of you to do that
Right.
day in order that you get paid at the end of the week. And then all of a sudden,
Mm-hmm.
when you're on your own, they're not there, right? There's nothing in place. So you're just sort of going for it.
Right.
And it can be like, what is the best way? You got to grow your business. You got to get clients. You got to do the sales. You got to do this. And all of a sudden, you've got to put on all these different hats, right? So it's all a learning
Yeah,
process.
it
So for
really is.
you,
But
yeah, it won't end either. Look, so it won't end. I'm going to be 51 this year and I'm
it's
still
just
learning.
started.
And I will never stop learning.
Wow, you look
It's just all a
amazing.
process.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, bless you. So for you, and you really focus on particularly weight loss. So share your
Mm-hmm.
own journey, because you said that this didn't happen overnight and it didn't happen the first time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, what happened?
So my weight, I would say my weight always kind of fluctuate throughout my life, honestly. Like this is, I guess you would say, technically my third time, like me actually, but for like even throughout my whole life, my weight just always fluctuated. But in 2000, like the first time I lost weight was like 2011. I didn't really mean to. I had took a cardio class in college. I didn't really need it, but I needed an extra course. So I'm like, oh, I'm gonna take a cardio class. It's crazy how life works out. So I took a cardio class and I just lost weight just by doing a cardio class. I was like I was on my feet a lot, so I just lost weight. I wasn't really caring about what I ate. But by like 2015, I kind of got down. I was like 145 in high school, so it's like right at the high school, and I got to like 130 or something. And then in 2015, I got to like 178. I was like, I gotta do something. So I was able to lose 20 pounds and I lost it fairly quickly. But by 2017, I gained 40 back. And it was like, my doctor was like, what's wrong? You got a thyroid, all this other. I'm like, I'm just eating. I didn't deprive myself of everything for so long. I just spiraled out of control. I just kept eating. But in 2019, I was diagnosed with high blood pressure, and they said I had it 5 years prior. I was borderline diabetic. I just didn't. So one day I was about to go somewhere. I looked in the mirror. I was like, I ain't liking what I'm seeing. This is not what it's giving. I don't like my body. So, and I wasn't taking the medication either for high blood pressure. I'm not really big on taking medications and stuff like that. Like if I'm going through something, I feel like my body is a natural healer; it will heal on its own. So I was like, I'm not taking anything. I didn't take the medication, so I'm like, if I'm not going to take it, I need to do something because my uncle, and I think I said this on a prior interview, my uncle, he lost, I said liver, but his kidney. He lost his kidney, had to get a kidney transplant from high blood pressure. I was borderline diabetic. My great grandmother, she lost her leg from being diabetic. So a lot of these things that run in my family, like a lot of my family, my cousins, they have diabetes and things like that. So I want to be the first to reverse all that. So when I looked in the mirror that day, I didn't like what I saw. I was like, okay, I gotta get to work. And I worked at a market, like I told you before. So I bought my meal prep containers, and every week I would go to the market. And when I made market, I just kept going. So that first week, I had lost like I lost like a pound a day, and that kept me going. And so I the weight was just coming up. I just did the work, and that one thing I stress about, I went at my pace. So in the beginning, I only started at 2 to 3 days. So I was do 2 to 3 days, 15, 20 minutes. I would only do what my body would allow me to. My body said, "You're tired." That's it. I would just for each week I would have a different goal for myself. So if I didn't complete something, I would complete it the next week. Or I'll up my goal. So if I did 2 days, 15 minutes in one week, I do 2 days, 20 minutes the next. So each week I just had a different goal. And this time around, I didn't have a goal weight. Like the previous time before, I had a goal weight, so I wanted to be at 150. This time I didn't have a goal weight. I just wanted to be healthy overall. So I didn't want to keep going through this over and over again. Like, it takes a lot of work to. I mean, even though I feel like anybody can lose weight, I know nowadays they got all these detox teas and these medications that can help you lose the weight, but no one wants to go through, like, it's a mental thing that comes with losing weight as well. It's not just a physical thing, and it's something that I try to tell my clients as well. Learn to love your body and things like that through the process. That when you get to where you want to be, you're not like, how do I handle this? Because even now, because I was so hell bent, there's a lot of things that I'm learning now because I was so hell bent on the scale and things like that. Like, I'm still trying to appreciate how to love my body, even though it kind of looks, people are like, oh, you before didn't look bad, but I'm like, I didn't like my before, and even now I'm trying to get used to my after. I'm still maintaining, still trying to get to, where I want to be. So I'm not really where I would like to be. I still would like to, gain a little bit. If I kind of got small, I went from a size 14, like 13, 14, to a size like 2. So it's like that mentally adjusting has been like, you know, from a size like extra large, 1X to a small, extra small. It's kind of crazy in the amount of time that I did it. So I'm still adjusting. Like my 30th birthday, I just made it real. I was like, I didn't really. I'm scared to show my body off a little bit. Yeah, I show like my abs a little bit, but it's still like just the flaunt it. I don't flaunt. So that's why if I focused on loving my body through the process opposed to getting the results, it probably would have been a lot better. So I instill that into my clients, like make sure you love your body through it. That when you get to your like where you want to be, you flaunting it won't be like I gotta be humble. Like no, you worked hard, flaunt it.
Yeah. And what you said there about it being, you know, it's the mental part of it. It's the, your how I'm a self-confessed I'm an emotional eater. When I'm
Mhm.
down, that is what food would be the thing that I reach for because I'm looking for that instant gratification.
Mhm.
Even though I know the results of eating that thing, I'm not going to like, but I can press that self sabotage button because I just want to feel good in the moment. And even though my knowledge of, I studied this for years, nutrition, sports nutrition, the ketogenic diet for health, I knew what I should be doing. But somehow, and this is why I do think that the power of the mind is so much more involved with
Mhm.
regards to weight loss because it was lockdown and all my rules went out the window because I wasn't happy. I was reaching for, well, I'll just drink a bottle of prosecco, and what comes with that is, well, then I'll just eat junk, or we'll just
Right.
get order out, and
Mhm.
or well, not order out, yeah, have a delivery, yeah, because we couldn't
Yeah.
go anywhere, so
Yeah.
you justify it, or that's what I found I was doing. Some people went two ways, right? Some sort
Mhm.
of went on a fitness, uh, really did really well in lockdown. I went the opposite. Everything fell apart for me. I was just like, ugh, ugh. Well, no, we're still not allowed out, right? I may as well just order a takeaway and a delivery and drink a bottle of prosecco. Poor me, poor me, poor me. Of
Oh,
course,
it's
I gained weight. Funny that, isn't it?
yeah. And my journey actually started right when COVID hit. So I started like my journey right before COVID. So it was like October 2019. So I remember I was still working. I worked the whole where I worked at both jobs. They were considered. I forgot what they were considered like to be over because I was working actually at a college at the time. When COVID hit. I used to work at HBCU here in Baltimore, Maryland, and so I had students still got to eat and I worked for the food service there, so I still had to work. So I would be at work getting my steps in. So on my break, I would go walk around the track, or I would walk around a circle in the food court, and I would just get my steps in. I would walk. Like I was really adamant during that time. And I guess because I was still working, I probably had it probably locked had it probably had I got locked down, I probably would have not gone through with it. But because I was so adamant on getting the results that I wanted, I just kept going. And I know a lot of
So
people were
that was
like,
your mindset. That was
Yeah.
your mindset. You had made a decision,
Mm-hmm.
and there's me going, ooh, pull me, pull me. And so there you go. That's proof of the pudding. You know that you had the same thing. You were still in lockdown. I was still in lockdown. Yeah, you were working. I worked throughout it, but there you go. The different I had my mindset not in a good place,
Mm-hmm.
and you had your mindset in a no. You'd made a decision. That's what you were going to do, and you did it. And I was just looking for everything to complain about. So it just goes to show it's always us that are in our own way.
Yeah, definitely.
We,
And even it's still like I feel like I've always been an emotional eater. And even it's still like even me being to where I want to be, I don't eat anymore. Like I transitioned. I used to eat when I first started. I don't eat meat now. But even it's still like I still struggle with emotional eating. Like like you said, just wanting that instant gratification, just to feel good. Like I just want to breathe. So and I'm still learning how to dig deep in other ways. To myself emotionally opposed to doing other things rather than snacking and things like that. It's kind of hard trying to find snacks and things like that I like. But it's like, I'm a sweets girl. I love sweets, so I'll eat cake, and that was my problem too. Like I would sleep in the bed next to a box of cupcakes and eat them for breakfast and dinner. I would have a pack of cupcakes in my bed. So when I say I'm a sweets girl, I'm a sweets girl. So just adjusting, even when I had my moments because of the type of traits that I have accomplished or started throughout my journey, it helps me when I kind of like go crazy. I kind of have my days where I have like my little, I don't want to say cheat days, but like my days where I can just have fun, and try to get back to it. So I mean, even it's still like I feel as though like we are entitled to how we feel and how we deal with things as long as we have the mindset to get better. Because like every day you wake up, that's a new day for you to start over. You may have had a bad day yesterday, but what can you do to make the next day better?
and there you go. And that is it, because so many people, they think, oh, I've ruined it now. And no, you haven't. It's like Christmas
Mhm.
Day.
Yeah.
Christmas Day is just like, I know you're okay in England, right? We
Mhm.
have Sunday dinner, right? Sunday roast is like a Christmas dinner, right? It's a roast meat, it's roast potatoes, it's veg and that is our Sunday dinner. That's very English, right?
Mhm.
But really, that's all Christmas Day is. But we
Right.
we overindulge. And
Mhm.
actually, for some of it, that can just be the start of things. And if it was just Christmas, it's just one over the top meal. You could
Mhm.
just get back on it the following day. However, some people struggle, and that's because they think, oh, well, I've ruined my diet now. I may as well just, give up on it. Whereas one meal is never going to be ruining it. And you can't even, people go, oh, I've put loads of weight on. That's not real weight. That's probably water weight because you've eaten rubbish. So you're also holding on to a lot of water weight.
And a
Like if
lot of
you
sugar.
went back to your normal routine and exercised as well, then it wouldn't be a problem. But so many people give up on their goals. It's like New Year's resolutions, isn't it? They just
Mm,
they just
It's
give up on it.
Yeah, and I think as long as is one thing I had to understand too, especially when I'm going through it. But like the longer you stay in something that doesn't serve you, is just going to bring you down even longer. So I try to tell myself and my clients like, understand bad thoughts. They don't serve you. They cost way too much. You can't afford bad thoughts. And that's something that you have to like really kind of instill in your brain. Like bad thoughts just don't serve you. Like, they cost too much. They're too expensive. Whether you got a lot of money or not, you can't afford a bad thought because once it stick to you, it's on you, and the longer you stick in it, it just holds you back. And so it's like understanding that you have to start. You can start over any day. Like there's a lot of people who have gained from having routines. Like when I first like I literally lost 20 pounds, but I gained back 40. So imagine trying to lose weight with 40 pounds on you, and I was able to double that when I took it off. So it's just about having that mindset of knowing that you can do it and being able to maintain it. So that was the thing too that I had messed up. I didn't know how to maintain my weight. I've been able to maintain that for almost 4 years. So it's truly amazing how you just shift your mindset and just change it. And I'm not saying it's easy because a lot of times we get from A to B, we're like, well, it's so easy, and it's not. No transition is going to be the easiest, but as long as you try to practice certain things to keep your mindset going, you're around people that help you keep you going, um, it can work. But I know sometimes when you're on your weight loss journey, you're not going to have everybody around that's going to be on the same page. I know for me it was kind of difficult because our family, they wasn't on the same thing, especially when I stopped eating meat. You like, they had all that stuff in my face. So the willpower that it takes sometimes, the willpower be like, I don't, I want some. It's even last summer was hard because here in Maryland, seafood is really huge here, especially like crabs and stuff. And I didn't get to like say my proper goodbye to crabs, and I was around crabs a lot. I was like, can I just lick the shell? Let me lick the
Is
shell.
it? Isn't it funny that we restrict ourselves with certain foods? I mean, I would have been the opposite. So I always did. I'll eat the meat. I'll eat the fat. I'll ditch the carbs. I'll just ditch the carbs, and even But this is why you've got to choose just There is no one right way.
It
I mean, I
isn't.
would say that really, in general, it's just avoiding over processed foods, anything that comes out of a plastic bag, pretty much, and just eat whole, one ingredient foods. Just eat as we used to eat as
Mhm.
humans have always eaten,
Fresh
and you'll be
food.
fine. It's it's
Yeah.
it's the rubbish that I mean, it's terrible. You can go to the shop and you just think that isn't even real food. That's probably closer to paint than it is to
And
food.
it's
What is it?
crazy. And it's crazy, especially when we talk because the first thing people say carbs, carbs, carbs. I'm like, bro, carbs are like everything to us. We need carbs. Like carbs are our main source of energy. Like every day you eat a carb. Fruits, vegetables, that's carbs. We need those. And the fresher it is, the better the carb. Like if you're gonna eat a carb, eat it fresh. But one thing I kinda instill on, like we need to have proper portion. Like we need to learn proper portion because here in America, the portion size when we go out is literally crazy. You go get pasta,
Yes.
it's like this much. It's like enough pasta for like 3 to 4 people to eat. And a lot of times you get used to seeing that. You get so used to eyeballing and seeing that. So when you eat your own food, you think you gotta eat all that food. Your stomach is all burst, you're sluggish. That's because you have so much energy in you, like you ate so much energy and you're not releasing it no type of way. You laying down and stuff like that. So we gotta learn how to just keep our body moving and then too again eating fresh foods. Now again, that 80-20%, it can run out like we say 80%, fitness, 20% what you eat. But it's the same thing. 80% fun, fresh food, 20% your fun. It's okay to have fun. No one's saying like remove everything from your regimen. Like you still deserve to have fun with human beings. You know what I'm saying? Like having the mindset, okay, every day I'm gonna do this, like kinda, you know, be realistic with yourself. Like some days you deserve to have a little bit of fun, but of course, if you're doing it on the day, like consistently, you're gonna win each and every time. So with me, I decided to say, okay, I'm gonna meal prep. I'm gonna learn better proper portions. I'm gonna actually look at it, see what a proper portion is of what I'm eating, so that I can be aware of it. So that when I'm eyeballing, I'm not eyeballing it with my stomach like, oh, I need more than that. Like, no, I know how much it is, so that I'm aware. So that's one thing that I teach my clients too. Like, you need to be aware of how much you're eating. If you're not aware, you're just gonna keep eating. You're gonna eat anytime you want, in how much you want, you're not gonna get the results you want. So again, this is about
Oh,
learning to do.
absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, your portion sizes, and I know, we're following the states. Our portion sizes are getting bigger and bigger because,
Really?
and I don't know where. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Years ago, even if you went to the corner shop and got chocolate bars or something, they'd be smaller. Now they're like double size, or it's like grab a bag, it's for sharing, and it ends up being that's your normal packet, right? Like we've lost our way, which I'm sure it's just as bad in the States, but over here
Mhm.
diabetes, they're spending, the NHS spend 10 billion a year on the problems with diabetes. And you've just
Mm.
mentioned some of the issues that come from that, like kidney disease, like, you're going to have heart failure, that it's all linked. I do
Obesity.
feel that there's so many ailments that are getting very common now, which are chronic ailments. They can actually simply be reversed through diet. Through diet and exercise, you can actually reverse type 2 diabetes. It is a
Anything.
lifestyle disease. It's a lifestyle disease, and it's been, I know we've got to take responsibility for ourselves, but also, the media doesn't help. The adverts, the way things are done. You go in to pay for your petrol, and on the way up, that's all you can see when you're in the queue. So you're constantly tempted with this stuff. It should be taken out. If you're going in for petrol,
Mhm.
you're going for petrol. If you want to go and buy something, go over there. But it
Mhm.
is purposely done to try and draw you in. Like, okay, you
Mhm.
sure you just want to buy petrol? What about this over here? Have you seen this? And so
Yeah.
it's all, and then of course we've it's affecting our hormones. So even, the leptin,
Yeah.
the ghrelin. So we're not listening to that. With a baby, the baby will drink milk until it's had enough. It will tell you when it's
Mhm.
had enough. It's never going to overeat because
Mhm.
its hormones are in balance. And as soon as they're full, they're satisfied, the hormone kicks in and boom, yeah, I've had enough, and it will spit that bottle out. And unfortunately, we've sort of learned to not either hear that message, or because of the hormone disruption, it's just not, that message isn't getting through. So people, yeah, I agree. People are overeating. The portion sizes aren't better. So they're just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And so the whole thing is not helping anybody, and it really is affecting their health, because nobody wants type 2 diabetes, because there's all sorts of things that could come from that. And just because it was in your family, that may mean that just because that's the way you've been eating in the family, it's not necessarily genetic, it's more
Yeah.
lifestyle. This is how you've been brought up, and and that's the way it is. So for you, you're helping people sort of overcome this from a mindset issue, and as a meal prep, and with fitness. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And just to piggyback on what you said too, a lot of these doctors, and one thing I learned too, they don't really study nutrition, so they're not really understanding how our bodies will react to things. And so, especially when you talk about hypertension and things like that, like, hypertension really is more so about, it has to do with what you eat, but it also has a lot to do with stress too, your stress levels. And as a young person to have hypertension, my doctor never asked, "Hey, how do you deal with stress? What's going on in your life to allow you to be stressed like that?" And so I feel like there's a lot of other things that come about, especially like you said, these hormones of these foods, and a lot of times because we're so focused on a scale. And one thing I preach, I would say don't get so focused on don't get so focused on how your body looks that you forget that your body still has to function for you. We get so caught up in how quick our bodies are reacting to the work that we're doing. We're then overworking ourselves, and we're trying to figure out why we're not getting the results that we want. And then two, we're worried about the wrong things, and we don't really realize how our body is reacting to a lot of the things. So different things like acne, like I had acne in my late 20s, early 30s, like I shouldn't be having acne the way that I have acne. That's a sign of something not being right. How your cycle is and things like that. It wasn't once until I got healthy, started putting more healthier things in my body, it my body just literally changed. It started functioning for me. And again, and I can understand now with resources and stuff, with everything going down and things like that, or things going up. So I can understand the finance and things like that. People may feel like they can't afford it, but it's about just trying your best, trying your best to not get the most processed thing. If you gotta get, vegetables instead of getting if you can't afford the fresh, get the frozen. Just try to find different alternate, different things to implement and try to cook your own food so that way you know what's in your food. You can't go wrong with cooking your own food. You know what's in it. You know what's in what you cook. There ain't nothing bad, especially going vegan. And now also too being vegan with all these processed meats, these meat substitutes, bro. It's crazy now, and it's kind of sad now because now they're targeting vegans too now, with the hormones and the bad food and
Well, and that's my fear with it all, is that you want us eating your controlled, processed, over manufactured. That ain't no good for anybody. And like you say, just whole foods. You cook it yourself. You know what's in it. It's not added. The things that they're adding into it is just crazy, and it is no good for the body, and it is going to affect your health. But that all combined. But yeah, it's going to be linked. And you said something there, which I feel that is possibly even the top one above what you eat and how you're exercising, and that's stress.
Mm-hmm.
Cortisol is in the body. You are designed to fight, flight, freeze. That's it. There isn't any time to worry about weight loss. There isn't any time to burn your fat. Your body is going to hold on to the fat.
Yes,
It isn't the time to burn it, because it's an emergency and it's life or death, even though you're just stressed over a conversation you had 4 hours earlier. But they're still having the same reaction in the body as if a big bear is following you.
Mm-hmm.
and who isn't stressed these days? There's just so much. People laugh at me because I don't have a television. I don't watch terrestrial television at all. We don't have a TV in the house anymore. I got rid of it in lockdown. Yeah, got rid of it. I mean, look, I'm not I can watch films, I can watch Prime, or I can watch Netflix, but there's no terrestrial TV. I cannot watch, over here we've got the BBC. No, never again, never going to watch it. I don't have to listen to, there are no adverts on BBC, but adverts on ITV or Channel 4. I don't watch adverts anymore. I cannot explain how you realise how much brainwashing goes on, because, I'm not looking for brands, and all of that is just unimportant. I will go and get what I want, and that is it. But so many people are stressed. Why? Because of all the crap that they're watching on telly. And you're not going to lose weight. You could exercise all you want. You ain't going to lose weight. So stress is the number one.
Mm-hmm. I feel like social media is killing us. I feel like now people don't even have to look at TV because they're on social media. So just the fact of having to look a certain way or having to have the things that other people have is enough to stress you out. So now they're not only putting on TV, but they're putting on social media. So now that's why you have all these mukbangs and people eating large amounts of food. And I'm seeing a lot of these influencers that were doing mukbangs, whatever it's called, pronounced. I'm sorry. They're gaining, a lot of weight, and I'm not body shaming anybody. Love your body the way that it is. If you're okay with it and things like that, go for it. But I'm just saying a lot of it, like you said, they're brainwashing us into, wanting and doing certain things and stuff like that. So it's really important that you have a mind outside of your own. I'm more so on YouTube a lot. I like YouTube. I don't really watch too much of TV because it's just too much on there now. Like everything has an agenda. It's an agenda. It's something to make you think otherwise of who you are and what you are. That's the thing. That's what I appreciate about your weight loss journey, because you tend to find yourself. You tend to love who you are a lot better, opposed to trying to be and do what everybody else is doing. So I feel like your weight loss journey is such a good time and best time to get to know and love on yourself. And instead of just focusing so much on what the scale is doing and what your body's looking like, get to know yourself a lot better. You know what I'm saying? So, because like you said, again, we have so much to be stressed about with this world alone. They're always pushing something. I haven't watched the news in I don't know how long. I don't watch the news. I don't got time for it. If anything, my life is enough to be stressed about, okay? So I don't even want to hear the news about what is going on, okay? I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
It's the best way. It's the best way. There isn't anything ever good on the news. And you think, and this is the trouble, we're not getting the whole story. So it's so negative on the news. That's not helping with the stress. That's people being stressed out. But you know what? There's just as much good going on out there. It's just that you're not hearing it. But at least then,
Yep.
if you're watching YouTube, at least you get to choose what you're
Yes.
watching. You can
Yes.
choose to watch this and not that. And
Right.
I really feel that that's not helping with and it will have a knock-on effect, especially if you're trying to lose weight and get fit, because
Mhm.
yeah, as we said, these levels of stress is going to stop you, and it's actually going to stop your body from doing the things. That's why people can be. So I used to teach in the city of London, right? So
Mhm.
people in high-powered jobs, and they're getting to the gym, or on a spin bike at 6 a.m. and they want to work out really hard, and then they've got a very stressful day, and they would struggle if they're looking to lose weight. Why? Because of the stress of the job,
Yep.
and just because you're working out really hard, man, if there's too much cortisol, you're just not gonna do it. You're just not
That's a
gonna
good
do it.
point. That's a really good point because a lot of women think going so hard in the gym, especially starting out 45 days doing two sets of cardio, and then you're gonna just get the weight off. Like, no, it doesn't work that way. Like, our bodies literally have to function. We are not cameras. We're not phones. We're not computers. Our bodies cannot work like that. It's no possible way. And you have some women that's working hard like that and only eating once a day. That's intermittent fasting. That's fasting and things like that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with fasting. I feel like it's a time and a place for fasting, especially intermittent fasting. But again, you cannot think that your body is going to be able to do what you want it to do, not being treated the proper way. That's
Yeah.
impossible. And
You've
like
got
you
to do
said,
you've got to do it properly. You've got to do it properly,
mhm,
and you can only do it if you've adapted to burning fat. If you're going to eat normally and then just do the intermittent fasting, your body isn't going to be producing. The only way I mean, and I fasting was my thing. So I studied all the sort of more from a health point of view,
mhm,
the point about the health benefits of autophagy when you go with that. But intermittent fasting, you're not really triggering autophagy. You only trigger autophagy if you've gone 19 hours without food. That's when
mm,
autophagy is triggered, and that's when the body heals itself. But who can go 19 hours without food if they're addicted to sugar? No one.
mm,
If you need your carbs is just like, the way I explain it is like, carbs is like food in the fridge. Like, if that food is depleted, it needs to be filled up again, right? Whereas your
mhm,
fat stores, you've got loads of, even if you're slim, you've got loads of fat stores. You should
mhm,
never run out, but we've been adapted to burn carbohydrates so much that
mhm,
you're going to faint or you're going to feel ill if you go without food. However, if you've adapted your body to actually burning fat as a fuel,
mhm,
then actually fasting, your liver will create enough ketones to keep you going. It can create about 700, your liver can create about 700 calories worth of ketones from your fat stores. So actually, without eating, you're still getting about 700 calories a day. But
right, okay,
that doesn't happen overnight. That
mhm,
takes about 4 to 6 weeks, sometimes longer if you've got type 2 diabetes, but it'll take 4 to 6 weeks to get fully fat adapted. And only then will you really get the benefits of fasting. People are misunderstanding this, and then
mm,
they're going to lose out because, yes, you need it. You're either going to get energy from carbs or fat.
mhm,
Most people's bodies in this day and age, we are hooked on the carbs, but
mhm,
actually, fat is our natural fuel source. But so you can't do both. You can't think you're going to do that and fart. You're not going to get the health benefits of
mm-mm,
from that will come from the fasting because you're not doing it correctly. There's a
mhm,
bit we've got to work with our bodies. We've got to work
yes,
with our bodies' natural ways. And yeah, if
mhm,
you're exercising, and then there's the problem. If you're working out intense, fat is too slow a fuel source, so you will need carbs or you will need some kind of carbs. Doesn't necessarily
mhm,
mean a lot, but you need something
mhm,
to do the faster work. If you're going to work anaerobically, you need a faster fuel source. Fat's too slow.
mm,
That's why I don't
okay,
exercise a lot when I'm fasting. Light aerobic. That's better if you're fasting. High intensity interval training, absolutely not. It's not the time
no,
or not the place. But
mm-mm,
that's the misconception. That's the trouble. That's the trouble when people they've got a little bit of knowledge of something, and then Oh, you're not going to get it right. If you don't get it right, you're actually going to do your body a disservice, and it could actually make you worse. Right? You've got to have that. We've got to have that balance.
Right,
So you're teaching with mindset, doing it sensibly, meal prepping, from what you've shared, it's a sensible way. Prepping, portion sizes, and the way you were talking, it's really about getting into a habit, and anything that's done consistently, because nothing happens overnight. Don't care what it is. I don't know why we all expect it to happen overnight. So being consistent, being prepped, like, what you just said about, you're going to go and do all the meal prep in advance, because that's the thing. Don't do it when you're hungry. It's a nightmare, isn't it? If I go shopping when I'm hungry, I'm buying all the rubbish there because it's too late. I'm hungry. When you're organized and you come from a place of intention and you can meal prep, it just makes life so much easier for you. But, look, Jasmine, people need, it's so much easier with a coach. So if they had you taking them by the hand and keeping them motivated, even when they think they fail, because there is no failure, but to get back up and just go back on it again. That's, we all need a coach, right? We all need somebody to, when we're looking to go from point A to point B, it's so much easier to have somebody that's got your back. So you've got your people's back. So anybody out there who's looking to lose weight, how do they get hold of you? How do they get started with you?
Well, you can find me on Instagram, Saayit Fitness, and Saayit Fitness is spelled S2A, so SAAYY, It Fitness. You can find me on Instagram. I post a lot of information on there, a lot of value on there. So I post a lot of my workouts that I create, a lot of just weight loss tips and things like that. You can also email me at support at saayitfitness.com, as well as visit my website and fill out the consultation form, and subscribe to my website too at saayitfitness.com. I currently have two programs that I have going on right now too, a 17-week program and an 8-week program. New Body Who This 17-week program, and the New Body Starter Kit, which is an 8-week program. So I'm really excited for those that I have got going on. My clients are actually seeing a lot of amazing results. One of my clients, she's actually extended to stay with me because she's been getting really good results. So I'm excited. So if you are a very busy woman and you are needing to get that structure, because a lot of my because I did it, I lost my weight working 7 days a week. I know what it's like to be busy trying to fit your health and wellness schedule within your busy schedule. So if you're one of those, that's your mom, work life is crazy, and you're trying to find that balance between trying to get healthy and then stay calm throughout all the chaos and trying to get that structure together, I am your coach, okay? That is what I do. So if you're needing help with structure and staying healthy throughout your crazy, crazy busy schedule, I am your coach.
Awesome. And with regards to your exercise, so you have an online program. This is for the exercise. You work out from home or from a gym?
So from home. So I am employed at a gym. So I actually teach group fitness classes at a gym, but my coaching sessions that I have with my clients is actually virtual. So I create my own dance fitness routines. Like I'm not, like I said, I'm not really what you would call a trainer where we're doing reps and things like that. Like that's boring to me. So I like to dance a little bit. I create chair workouts. I have strength training workouts that I create with some good music, resistance training, cardio, dance. So it's a lot that you're getting with me when it comes to workouts. So I create my own workout routines. That's kind of fun to dance, like you said. Like I got a lot of energy. So I like to jump around and move around, and counting reps is not something that I can do. Okay, I'm at least.
No. I hear you. And that's the trouble I found, because for all my life, really, quarter of a century, I was jumping around a studio. I didn't really work out in a gym. I mean, I might have taught body pump, which is with weights, but it was to music and it went to the beat of the music.
Right.
but it was all the more dancey ones, the body, that was my kind of thing. But you know what? I struggled. You'd think after 25 years of teaching, when I gave up, I was teaching 17 classes a week, right? So you'd think that I would have no problem when I left the industry. Oh, I had a big problem because my accountability had gone. I wasn't being paid to turn up in that gym at 6 o'clock and then wait a bit and go and teach a lunch hour class over there and go here. I didn't have to be at these different places at different times.
Right.
So I didn't. Oh man, I got lazy. I went from all my life doing stuff to sitting in this chair. I was an online coach. I was sat behind my computer all day. It was horrendous. All because I didn't realize that I was so in that habit of, it was just second nature. Of course I've got to turn up. I've got to be paid. All of a sudden that wasn't happening. I had a new job. But it went out that I really, really struggled. Really, really. It was a shock to me.
Yeah.
I realised actually I'm really lazy. If I'm left to my devices, I'm really late. It came as such a shock. It was very humbling because it was like, I used to think, well, why don't you work out? What's wrong with you? Why do you not enjoy jumping around a studio? But because I didn't want to go to a gym and do a workout. I wanted to do the classes. And if they weren't at the time that I could do them, well, I'm not going then.
Right. Exactly.
Terrible. See, I needed a coach then. That's when, because I was so used to being the coach,
right.
I've got to turn up for my people. And then all of a sudden I didn't have that. It was like, so, oh my goodness, I've got everything here now. No more excuses.
It's definitely an adjusting period because even now, like at first, I used to really enjoy working out by myself, but now since I've been coaching for so long, it's like I don't want to work out by myself. I don't like that. Like I like sharing that energy with my clients. Like so, if they cancel, I'm like I ain't working out. I just wait, But I'm used to working out like 7 days out the week, so it's crazy that you said that because I go through the same thing. So I'm like, I would not work out. I mean, sometimes I'll pull through and do it, but for the most part now, I love that energy. I like being able to work out with them, and now I can create routines with just working out with them now. At first I had to do it by myself, but now I can do it with them. So it's like, I'd rather work out with you guys than work out by myself. So
I totally get that because that was exactly how, I just couldn't, I'd go to the gym. I mean, my daughter's just come back in. She's been to the gym. I'm like, go you. Well done. I'm not.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh dear. Oh well, it's been really fun today. Thank you for your time today. It's been great speaking to you. And to anybody out there, you need someone because we all need someone to help us keep us going. Get in touch with Jasmine, and she will guide you through the process. So once again, thank you. You have a wonderful day. You've still got the rest of your day. I'm done for the day now. So
yes, I still got
to the rest of you, I will be back on Monday with a Coffee with Karen. So bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Coffee with Karen podcast, a weekly chat show discussing everything from holistic health to current affairs from a mental, physical and spiritual perspective. Get your weekly cup of positivity